It's the rubber game of the RoughRiders series against the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, and we're joined by the voice of the Naturals, Stephen Davis. Stephen, boy, the difference between the Naturals from what we saw earlier this season and right now is immense. Is it as simple as Fletcher getting back in the lineup that's completely changed this team?
That's a big part of it. Everybody's relaxed with him back. Guys are just playing better, too. Matt Fields has picked things up. Orlando Calixte's gotten better as the season's gone along. So has Brett Eibner, now that he's back healthy. Everybody's just playing consistently better baseball on the offensive side right now. Plus, the starting pitching's gotten better each month. There's been some new faces into the rotation. A couple guys who started the year in the bullpen. One guy, Aaron Brooks, who starts tonight, who came up from Single A. That's really helped a lot, too. The guys know they're not going to be buried as much early now. They're not going to have as many bad starts. They've been getting great starts a lot of late. And when the offense knows they can go out and put up 3-4 runs at a moment's notice, you know you're never out of a game either. So it's a team playing a lot more confidently. They got going late in the first half, and then you get the new life with the second half, and they've continued to play well with the change in the calendar.
It's like they used the momentum from being the spoiler role there, playing all those games against Arkansas and essentially keeping Arkansas from clinching that first half title, and they've used that here to move forward and have the best record in the second half.
Yeah, it was a situation where Brian Poldberg told the guys with about 2 weeks to go in the first half, yes, we can be a spoiler, but we can also get ourselves ready for the second half. Let's go out, play some good baseball now, and try to build some momentum. They did that, and as soon as it flipped to being the second half, they never missed a beat. They just kept right on going, won the first game of the second half, and haven't looked back. And when you're scoring 7 runs every game on this homestand or more, you're going to be in pretty good shape most nights. And obviously 4-1 through these 5 games is a testament to that.
And I'm sure the emergence, the power game, and in terms of hitting for average for Matt Fields has been a big part of that. And boy, his power was on display in that home run derby the other night.
Yeah, 24 homers in the 2 rounds, and you're in your home stadium, so you got the crowd behind you. A little pressure at the start, but once he got going, he was unstoppable. He's been as important as anybody to the offense getting going. He's been the guy hitting behind Fletcher in the 4-hole. He just had a great month of June, batted .300, 9 homers, 25 RBIs. He's got the great overall numbers for the year, but the batting average is finally coming up. He's getting some more singles to drive in runs. The home runs are always going to be there for a guy like that, but obviously that rate has picked up a little bit here of late. It'll be interesting to see what changes pitchers in the league make to him as they've seen him now a couple times while he's going good, and can he make some adjustments in return and continue to swing it at this rate?
On the mound, you talk about some of the pitchers moving from the bullpen into the rotation, and Brooks Pounders, certainly, if he hadn't already made a name for himself in this league, he did with a no-hitter the other night. What made him so special that night?
You know, Brooks Pounders and the starter tonight, Aaron Brooks, both very similar. They go out and throw a lot of strikes, and Pounders the other night, as his name would indicate, was pounding the strike zone. 70 strikes in 98 pitches. Against a Midland Rockhound team that, as you guys well know, is not afraid to work a count and go deep. They were forced to swing early and just never made solid contact. There wasn't even a great defensive play made in that game. Some good ones, but nothing extraordinary. He was just on his game all night long, and when you can go through, I don't care who you're facing, 9 innings on 98 pitches, you're doing something well, and to throw a no-hitter the way he did, he had everything working, nothing that was terribly outstanding, blowing guys away or anything, but just getting a lot of soft contact and easy plays for the fielders.
The pun lover in me loves Brooks Pounders for his name because if you have a special performance like that, you can go Royale with cheese with the Parent Club homage, Quarter Pounder, something like that. But my favorite is a pitcher who no longer is on your roster, but certainly made waves in the Texas League, and that's Yordano Ventura, who had the great Ace Ventura nickname.
Yes.
You know, you've had a lot of terrific pitching prospects come here through Springdale that you've seen. They haven't always panned out at the big league level, but a lot of highly touted minor league pitchers have certainly come through the Royals system. Where does Ventura rank among all those guys that you've seen, the Montgomerys, the Duffys, the Lambs?
In terms of pure arm as a starter, he's the best. He throws the hardest of those guys. He's got the great breaking ball to go with it, and he was able to show it in games and pitch well and dominate in games for 6, 7, even had an 8-inning start earlier this year. Obviously, the strikeout numbers were there as well. He's got the total package. Now he's got to put it together in AAA, and he's still very young, only 22, just got selected again for the Futures game this summer, second straight season for that honor. But yeah, just in terms of what he's got as a starting pitcher, the one guy that you could compare to him who's come through here was Kelvin Herrera, who's been to the big leagues a couple times as a reliever right now back in AAA. But in terms of a power arm who had good off-speed stuff, Herrera was a reliever because he couldn't stay healthy as a starter. Ventura's been able to stay healthy, and if he can continue to throw it as hard as he does, obviously improve that off-speed stuff continually, he's got a chance to be a starter in the big leagues. It's that plain and simple. The only two guys in the league this season who would compare were Carlos Martinez from Springfield, who got called straight to the big leagues when he first went up, and Mike Foltynewicz at Corpus Christi, just in terms of power arms who have that total package.
Yeah, the Martinez reference certainly it rings a bell for me. We saw him in the playoffs last year for the first time, and when I first saw Ventura out there, it was very, very similar in terms of that high velocity fastball. It's been a banner week here in Springdale. You have a no-hitter the other night. Today, your two players swept the weekly honors, but of course the highlight has to be the All-Star game, and everything I've heard about it, people have said that it was a very well-run event. They really enjoyed coming out here. What were some of the highlights for you being right front and center with that whole two-day experience?
It was just fun to see all the hard work from everybody in the front office come together into a couple great events. The gala banquet on Monday night was fantastic down at the University of Arkansas inside their football stadium in one of the club levels. Unfortunately, some of your guys didn't make it in on the flight and couldn't get to it in time, but everybody that was there had a great time. Willie Wilson was the keynote speaker, one of the great Kansas City Royals. Had the guys rolling with some of his stories from his playing days. And then the next night, to have basically a sellout here at the ballpark. Couldn't have asked for better weather. Home run derby was awesome. The players were into it. And then the ball game was great. George Springer, obviously the star of that contest. And I think everybody had a great time. You put so much work into an all-star game, and all of a sudden it's here and it goes by quickly. But I think everybody was able to take some time, especially the players and coaches who got to be on the field for it and enjoy the experience, because sometimes it is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. There were a lot of guys, we mentioned Matt Fields in the home run derby. It's the first time he'd ever been an all-star at any level, any age, and really took it in and enjoyed it, had a smile on his face the whole time. Hopefully a lot of the guys were able to do that, and I think for the Naturals front office, from our side of things, we were glad to be able to do that as well that night and after the game as well.
And not only was Willie Wilson the keynote speaker at that bash, but he was also your color partner on the television broadcast. What was it like working with Willie?
It was great. George Brett was originally supposed to be the keynote speaker and then took the job as the interim hitting coach for the big league team, so we had to go to Willie as the backup plan, but he was great. Folks don't realize the great career he had, and obviously he played 19 years in the big leagues, so he's got a ton of stories from that. He played 15 of those years with the Royals, was on all of their playoff teams, won a world title, a couple all-star appearances. He's still 12th all-time in stolen bases in the major leagues. So he had a good message, and he could relate to the players, and I think they got something out of hearing from him. And then to be able to pick his brain on the air during the TV broadcast of the All-Star game and get his thoughts on the guys as he saw them, the George Springers, the Foltynewiczes, the Rico Noels, Neil Ramirez, who started that ball game and was impressive. He was impressed by the amount of talent in this league.
Well, Stephen, congratulations on the show that you guys put on as an entire organization, and take a little bit of a breather here on this off day / travel day if you can, and revamp back up for the last 60 or so games here the second half. Thanks for the time.
No problem. We're going to enjoy a bus ride to Midland and an off day there as much as we can.
Exactly. Stephen Davis, voice of the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. We're back after this here on the Frisco RoughRiders Baseball Network.